Hi babes, welcome to Hamilton's Halogen, and this is your friend, Carrie Hamilton. This is a place where darkness meets illumination and truth becomes your turning point. Just like a halogen light burns brighter and hotter to reveal darkness, this podcast is about bringing light into places that many avoid. If you've ever felt lost in the dark, this space is for you. It's time to stop surviving and start shining. Good morning, all my babes out there. I'm joining you this morning before my day begins, so I hope that you are waking up and ready to head into a tactful Tuesday. So today I want to talk to the parents out there who are single and have children. There's a few things that I want to share with you that happened to me personally. And also things that I have witnessed in my life, and I think that it's very imperative to share because it's things that many don't think about, but it will affect you and your children's lives. First and foremost, I know that we are all out here looking to be loved, to find love, and to just feel loved again. Right now, it's a dark, dark world out there. So many people are single, getting divorced, feeling lost, and the one thing they crave the most is love. But I also will tell you one thing. That devil, that evil devil, he attacks when we're in our most vulnerable stage and when we are in our desperation stages. And because of that, a lot of times we are going through things and want to feel that sense of security and safety of love, and we fall into traps of evilness. In the world that we live in, many will fake a whole personality just to be able to gain control, to fall into your blessings and your abundance and take advantage of you, and then your kids go along with the ride. You see, you are not number one anymore when you have children. You're number two, and you come as a package. So if someone does not accept your children, but they accept you, they're not the one, because your children are now a part of you. And it is very, very crucial that you make them feel loved just as you are craving love for yourself. And I want you to remember that if you came from a toxic marriage and your kids are part of that toxic marriage and now you're co-parenting with that person, you have to remember if there was a toxic environment or something happening where they felt unsafe, and now that you guys are in separate homes, you've built that relationship back with your children. Your home is their safe haven. So anyone you allow in your home, you are breaking that safety, stating to your kids without basically saying that they're safe with whoever's coming into your home. So you've built that trust with them from now removing yourself from an ex-spouse or whatever. And, and this doesn't necessarily have to be physical, like altercations with you and your ex. It could have even just been that you guys were yelling and screaming all the time and then decided to, go your own ways. Any toxicity, just any enhanced environments for your children is not safe. They don't feel safe. So anyone now separating that household, anyone you bring into your home, you're telling them that they're safe now. So they're relying on you and counting on you to bring those types of individuals into the only place that they know is safe, which is your home. When picking a partner, you want to make sure that they don't only treat you well, that they treat your children well too. Because no matter how hard life gets, no matter how lonely you become, no matter, what they say, action is everything. And the person you are with needs to show your children that they're safe, that they're a safe person, and that they are loved, and that, they're loving their mother or father the same way. And if you don't have that, that person isn't for you. There's a quote that says, "A child's shoulders were never meant to bear the weight of their parents' choices." So going into life and everything that you do, you can't allow your children to feel that weight of the burdens that you experience and the obstacles that you encounter. We must choose all that we do wisely. There's no handbook to parenting. We're all out here just kind of winging it. But the main thing is safety and health. And it's very, very imperative when you're picking partners. And the reason I state this is because there's so many out there that keep bringing these people that they date into their homes and meeting their children, even when they haven't been dating them long enough. And like I said, you're making your child release that, they're becoming vulnerable, and you are basically telling them that, this person is a safe person. It's coming into our safe space. They're safe with mom, dad. And if you don't know that yourself for sure, you are subjecting your child to harm, to toxic environments and maybe unsafe environments. There is nothing in life that you can make an excuse large enough to heal the wounds of any consequences regarding the lack of care and health and safety for you or your children. I worked at a police station, and although I was not an officer, I saw many of the cases and many evidence type situations and pictures and photos and things, because I pretty much worked hand in hand next to them. And I will tell you this, it was never, ever someone that a person didn't know that caused abuse, sexual, disgusting situations and scenarios, even up to death. It was always someone they knew, a close neighbor they trusted, a close family member they trusted, and even the people that slept next to them in their bed and they called love. I myself was a victim of abuse, and in my childhood it was a stepfather, and in my adulthood it was someone that I thought that I loved. These people don't walk up to you the day you meet them and punch you in the face and then say, "Hey, you want to date me? You want to, marry me?" These people are professionals. These people have done this their entire life. Some of them, they were raised in that same kind of environment, so they learned it even from their own family. And there is no pain that I have inside of me in my forgiveness, in my healing, in my just journey of life. There is no pain worse than the pain of seeing consequences that children have from something that could have been avoided. And it is a pain that even as a parent, you hold so heavy on your heart. Here I am, 43 years old, very close to it. And my mother still to this day, when our childhood abuse gets brought up here and there, she will say the biggest lesson she learned is that no man is worth the risk and the safety and the environments of causing harm to your children. And I feel she still holds that heaviness in her heart to this day. Now for me, I I did have an adult abuser. However, because of my childhood abuse, the minute he started showing deep anger, and it got to the abusive situations, I never brought him by my children again. So my children, thankfully, have never been a victim of my adult abuser. However, their father had dated many women, and he brought a lot of them by my children. Now, my ex-husband is a police officer, so I trusted him. We never had trust issues, even being together, dating, marriage, and all that. I still to this day trust him, to an extent, obviously. But more so the fact that I know in my heart that I trust him as the father that he is, and that he would never deliberately cause harm to our children for spite or whatever. However, as I said, he dated many women. He was bringing these women by our children. I would make comments here and there, but I never wanted to make it seem like I didn't want him to date, or that it was like coming from a jealousy aspect of him dating, because that was never the case at all. But of course, and I also didn't know if it was my fear from my past that was making me feel these ways. So I kind of just, would ask questions and stay alert, but then I wouldn't, press the issue of him bringing these women by our children. So fast forward, he ended up having this woman move in his home, didn't even say anything to me. I ended up finding out because my daughter came home a couple times with like scratches on her arm, and the woman had a cat. So these scratches were from this cat. Well, fast forward about like 8 months into her living there, I noticed a drastic change in both of my children. My daughter was very short-circuited. They both were starting to have issues in school. The school became very involved with trying to get them extra help. My son would stay for even like a math tutor. But it was getting to the point where I remember even calling my own mother and saying, what age do girls go through puberty? Because at this time my daughter was like 7, and I've never really heard of a woman going through menstrual stuff earlier than like 10. So I just thought it was very early. My mom's like, no, that doesn't sound right. So then I thought maybe it was like the electronics and they were staying up late. And so I started harping on their dad about, making sure that they get off their phones and have monitored, TV time, things like that, just so that I thought maybe they needed extra sleep. So long story short, it was this girlfriend that he had move in his home. As I said, they fake a whole facade. She even befriended me. I was doing her hair in my hair salon and not charging her. Let her borrow my clothes so that they could go to, a concert or whatever that they were doing. Like, I'm that kind of person. I am a friendly person. I don't, have animosity. I'm not a jealous person. I'm a friendly person. I care about everyone. And if this woman's living in the house with my children, I want to have a good co-parent / friendly relationship, because it's healthy for my kids. And that's why I wanted to do it. So as my daughter is acting, short-circuited, I'd tell her to brush her teeth, and she'd be like, scream back at me, started to disrespect me, where my kids, they don't talk back to me like that. And one day I had a sheriff at my door from Child Protective Services stating that I'm not bathing my kids, I'm not feeding my kids, that I'm this drug addict, that my kids live in an unsafe home. It was totally, if anyone knows me, I am the complete opposite. Like, I don't even drink alcohol. Like, my home is a beautiful home. It's new, a newer home, just totally from left field. And so, as I stated, I had this abusive ex that, he was way out of the picture, but I thought at first, wow, is this your girlfriend trying to cause animosity because she doesn't like that we're in a good environment for these kids. Like, is she getting jealous? Like, is she, like, is this her? And he's like, no way. Like, I mean, we're all, again, like I said, it came from left field. So, I mean, she's playing nice guy and we're all getting along. So it didn't make sense that it would be her. So then he was like, my ex-husband was like, maybe it's the abuser, and I was like, there's no way. I mean, he's been like out of the picture over a year. I'm like, there's no way that he would do that. Like, it's done, it's over with. Like, so one day my daughter's school called and said that they were very concerned that my daughter comes to school crying every day. And I was like, what? Obviously DCFS went to the school, and lo and behold, this woman that my ex had moved in his home, she was abusing my children. But she wasn't abusing them like with physical, bumps and scrapes and black eyes and whatever. She was abusing them psychologically. She was doing things like my daughter and son bring home like a take-home folder, and that's how like what homework needs to be done for the night. And she would take those out, and in the morning she would stuff this creepy doll. I'll show you this picture of the doll. She would take this doll and put it in my daughter's book bag so that when she would wake up to go put her lunch, in her book bag for the day to go off to school, she would open up her book bag, and this doll would be in there. She would do it even like put this doll in the bathtub before my daughter would like take a bath for the night. So it scream in their faces, say profanity, psychotic things to my kids, just things like in that nature, where it was all psychological abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. And one day I got a call from the school stating that my daughter had fainted. We thought right away maybe it's diabetes. It runs in both of our families. We had thought maybe there was heart issues. We took our daughter to a cardiologist. She had to do all of these tests, laying down, sitting up, all these different heart tests and stuff. The cardiologist said, nope, nothing's wrong with her heart. Her heart's functional, fantastic, strong. So then we went to a neurologist, and that's when they discovered, they called it cerebral migraines, but what it is from the abuse, from the emotional and psychological abuse that she was doing. Whenever my daughter is encountered with different emotions, like let's say she goes to school and she's nervous because she has a test coming, but she's also happy because she's at school, she's having fun, and she's, seeing her friends, and maybe, she's tired, so she's got all these different emotions in her brain going at one time, and the brain can't comprehend all the emotions like a normal person can, so her brain would basically shut down and she would faint. So now my daughter still to this day is under neurological care, and she takes medication daily to help with these brain functions, so that she could process emotions every single day. She'll still get the migraines because even sometimes it doesn't result all the way into fainting. It sometimes just brings on horrible migraines. So there's days where she has to go down and she can't function in school. She has to go down to the nurse and actually lay for, periods of time. Sometimes she comes home for the day. She can't bear the migraines. But things like that are now long-term effects. This woman, we ended up getting a restraining order. She is out of my ex-husband's home now. We are now over 2 years past this situation, but my daughter still to this day is dealing with these consequences and these things from the abuse. There is a verse in Kings 13:31. There was a man of God that was sent into Bethel, and God had said, do not drink the water and do not eat the bread if it's offered to you. And so lo and behold, the man of God goes into Bethel, and one of the prophets says, as a gift to you, I want to offer you this bread and water. And the guy says, unfortunately, no, the Lord has told me, do not eat the bread and drink the water, but thank you anyway. And so the man responded, well, I am actually a prophet. I'm an angel. And he said, by me, the word of God, he told me, bring him back with you to your house so that he may eat bread and drink water. But the prophet was lying to him. So the man, he actually took it and drank and ate the bread. And lo and behold, he obviously didn't listen to the Lord's word. And so he ended up going on a saddle to the donkey on his donkey, and was brought into where a lion was, and the lion had taken his life. And why I share that verse with you is because sugar and salt look the same, and we crave love so much, especially in such a dark, broken world, that we believe that something so sweet could never be so sour. Please, if there's any part of this message that resonates with you today, let it be this. Your children are your treasures, they're your gems, they're your jewels. And no fool would lay their jewels out for people to touch and take. They would only bring such treasures by those who they trust and know that they come with good intentions and will appreciate those jewels and those gems just as you do yourself. Don't let the fools into your vault, because first and foremost, thieves don't break into empty houses. They break into ones that are prosperous and abundant and have such beautiful gems. Do not bring these people, and don't allow yourself to be the fool to bring individuals that seem so sweet by these jewels, because the end result, you could be robbed. And nothing is more painful than watching your child go through horrible pain, suffering, and not being able to do much for it. My heart breaks when I see my daughter suffering. And there is no pain in this world than being a parent and wanting to take away that suffrage from your child. My kids are my life. They're the reason that I breathe every single day. And we take for granted things that we go through. And sometimes God sends us through these dark paths so that we learn lessons and we see what really is important in this world. We don't sweat the small stuff, and sometimes that small stuff is actually big stuff. So don't allow any storm to get your children wet, and don't drown your children with the weight of your decisions. Make sure you realize that they are a gift from God, and protect those treasures more than anything in this life, because you are their love, and there's no love that you seek other than the love inside of you that could ever replace the love that your children deserve. And anything exterior from our hearts, it's not love, it's a desire. And sometimes that desperation is when the devil comes to steal your biggest prize. Keep your eye on the prize.